planet, every moment, every second, the high vibrational waves are coming on the planet. Although some people, organizations, the system tries to uh, stop these vibrations and to interfere them to come to the planet and to help humanity. But these waves, nevertheless, they are coming on the planet, and children, embryos, that babies that are preparing for birth, they receive this high vibrational energy. That's why they create and form much stronger energy field than energy fields of their parents. It means that these embryos that are forming in the womb of his mother is nurturing on the high vibrational potential that reveals in this baby new abilities, capabilities, and more abilities of his mind. Of course, children take 50% of DNA of the mother, 50% of DNA of the father. So this baby had the genetic material of their parents, but energetically he is much higher, much stronger. That's why these children express themselves brighter and more developed. Of course, when such children are born, they prevail their parents in their energy. That's why it's very important to create the right relationships in the family, the right attitude to each other between spouses, and have moral qualities, high ethics in the family, and show this to the children in the family. Thus, this energy, high vibrational energy of children, are nurturing, receiving these moral qualities, possibilities to develop, create the life, to be the creator of their lives. Of course, such children receiving these high vibrations, they the high potential of energy that you call them hyper active because their brain works much faster and they're very active. So then such children, this create a very powerful energy direct on their self-improvement and self-development. But friends, there are just a few such families on the earth, unfortunately. As a rule, we see that new children are born stronger energetically, but they don't see understanding in their families, don't receive development of their energy or their abilities and talents. They don't have aspirations, life goals, right goals. They see misunderstanding in the family, scandals, and a lot of aggressive states in their families between their parents or grandparents, their neighbors, and they see it everywhere because it becomes a norm of life. Then the energy of these children are transforming because their high vibrational energy receives this low vibrational energy and created them aggressiveness, destruction. They are tormented, they become very aggressive, they are not obedient, they torment animals or are fighting with their peers. So they really become uncontrolled in society and in the family. And I noticed from my practice, from experience of my learners and other people, that um, even when just one of parents is right and develops spiritually, develops moral qualities, and another spouse, another parent is aggressive and live on destructive energies, then a child chooses this low vibrational destructive states because it is easier to choose this. And of course, a child becomes aggressive too. But when two parents are working on themselves, are engaged in their development, self-improvement, then the energy of their children become creative and can direct this high uh, potential to their improvement. So now we'll tell about aggressive children because now it's widespread, and teachers at schools and in kindergartens are shocked how children are aggressive, uncontrolled, and they want to destroy everything, to fight with everyone. It means that they have the same situation in their families, the same relationships. And now this is very serious problem in our society, because if in the past governments took care of the people, that they are cultured and would be friendly, take care of each other, show the mercy, kindness. Now everything is the opposite. The more the person is aggressive and uh, hatred, envious, then it is better for society. It means that humanity has degraded very seriously. And we discussed in many of our broadcasts what will happen with such people, so I will not repeat this again. But I want to emphasize that exactly this energy conflict between parents and children and incorrect behavior in the families cause the conflicts in the families when children don't understand their parents and parents cannot control their children because they are much stronger energetically than their parents, and parents waste the period of time when they had to raise their vibrations, their energy potential, but they gave life to new children with a much stronger energy potential. That's why these children are much stronger internally. Even when they look at their parents, they intuitively understand that they're stronger than their parents. But this power, this force within them are directed not into creation, but create destruction and conflicts, aggressiveness between them and parents. So what we will see now when there are children at 4 or 5 years old, and then these parents say, or grandparents, I have the acquaintance, and she told that she had a grandson. He was he was 1 month and a half, and she turned on a TV set, and this baby watched this program and advertisements, and she was so happy, so that she likes watch advertisements so much, and they even don't realize what programs are present in the advertisements. In every advertisements, 25th frame, a lot of programs that are installed and imposed on people, and they even don't think of what they show to their babies. And then several years passed, and then children are not obedient, they are uncontrolled because parents don't control them, then don't influence them. Advertisement and television and internet manage more and control their children. But of course, when children see that they are much stronger internally than their parents, they don't listen to their parents and don't obey. Of course, it causes many conflicts in the families. Now parents make a lot of mistakes. In addition to the process, when they don't do spiritual development, don't do self-improvement. In addition to this, they show more than cartoons, movies to their children that don't develop them, but on the contrary, make worse the inner states of children. And it's a pity that many parents, adults, don't understand this. And children complain that their parents don't understand them, parents complain that their children don't understand them. And then I ask such people that what did you want? Not children are common more developed than parents that you are, and they need more attention, more care, awareness of life. They need more education, more example, the right experience that will help them to adapt right in this new state of life, new world. And the time has accelerated. That's why the brain of such new children process several programs simultaneously. It means that they are adapted to this new process of time and life. But the parents stuck in the third dimension, and the brain of their children work completely in a different way. So you should not give them devices, gadgets, smartphones, but to develop and nurture in them right values, life values, to educate them how to build and create right relationships, respect to each other, kindness, take care of each other. They permeate everything, all experience around them even faster, much faster than before than parents developed. They just once looked at someone and they will know how to act. Also, they can use these gadgets, the new technology devices very skillfully. Why? Because these new children are coming from the sixth dimension. This is the higher level of life. So there, the advanced technologies are normal. That's why they used to these technologies. And the brain of every child is tuned to using these technologies. Every child can take a smartphone and he knows how to use this. And of course, this is the process of new time, and the new age, new process of time will is common. Then robots technologies will replace people. They will carry out a lot of activities, and this is the nearest future. And there are a lot of humanoid robots that it's very difficult to define is it a robot or is it a human being. So if now we will give the right education, upbringing to our children that will raise in their moral qualities and will allow them to reveal their internal potential and moral and ethics potential and their energy potential, a lot of abilities and talents, then these children will create such a wonderful world and beauties that you could not imagine. Yes, we need to give these opportunities to our children. That's why the parents should pay much more attention to their children and not to give them gadgets and video games or television because it's very serious mistakes and such parents they pay for that pay off and they see then the results of such actions. And I see a lot of examples of people around me. They are not my loneliness, but I see uh, their life and their families, their children prevail the parents, they don't obey them, they completely control their parents. And when I communicate with these children, I am strict with them and I tell them that it is forbidden and you should not do this. And they are shocked because everything is allowed them. So they are surprised. But they are developed. They understand my will power, my voice and my inner strength, and they see that if I say that it is forbidden, then they cannot control me, they cannot change and don't be obedient. But with mom, with their parents, they can do anything they want. Even at a small age, at 5 years old, they can watch such videos that are inappropriate, that it is forbidden for children at all. But of course, modern laws, legislation create such processes very seriously. This is laws that are completely degraded and they impose ignorance, aggressiveness, rudeness to children. And especially when they say that you are not a girl or a boy, you are some you have no sex, or you can control your parents, and you can um, complain to your parents, and they can be taken into the jail. So these laws, of course, will create for us um, a very destructive future. But of course, there are goals and motivation of those who create these laws, and what their intention to finish this old world where undeveloped savage people live, and this old year is finishing. And these people also will not live further. Only developed people who are well educated, who have moral qualities and life values, they will survive, they will live further. Also, who are talented, who are hardworking people, who have the desire to develop, and they are doing this. Future is belong to these people, only they will survive. And in the past, these laws were the crime, but now it's normal. In kindergarten, children show reproductive organs to these small children and tell them what they need to do with this. Of course, we cannot have a healthy society with such processes. So, of course, it's awful on the one hand, but on another hand, it also should be, because we see the separation of society into two sides of developed conscious people who are developing, who are serious conscious people, intellectually developed and energetically developed. They realize and understand all these processes, so they cannot be trapped into this trap and illusion. They know what is bad and what is right, what is good, and they show their own example to their children, and they don't have problems with their children and grandchildren. But most people on the planet are undeveloped and live with narrow consciousness in a savage state of mind. They have no understanding what this propaganda will lead them to, what results, and what kind of person the child will do if he will be raised on this education, and if everywhere will be the marriages between two men or two women, there they will not have grandchildren, because family is can be only between man and a woman. So realize and think, why are these processes exist? Maybe so that someone needs that people decrease and humanity decrease, so that will be less people on the planet. And why they crossbreed corn and other food products that become mutated and poisonous, that cause infertility in people. And why now there are seeds, and when they give the fruits, when you take the fruits, then these seeds don't give another fruits on the next year. If you did not ask yourself this, did not heard about this, hear about this, find the information on the internet. New knowledge gives you development and will allow you to make the right choice, to eat natural food, to have ethics and moral qualities, to raise your children the right way because they are much stronger energetically. Have the right behavior. Don't drink alcohol, don't smoke, don't take drugs, don't use bad words, and as don't be aggressive, don't be rude, hatred, and envious, because your children copy everything, even that you did not notice. Because even if you did not notice your behavior, they notice everything, and your children permeate all your behavior as a sponge. So if you want to raise the right children, you need to work on yourself and your family, your relationships. Once I had such a case, such in my life. I had a learner. She went to another country, so I haven't been seeing for 15 years. And she gave birth to a child. She could not have children. That's why she came to me, and a lot of children come to us with such a problem, and our mechanisms allow them to resolve this problem very quickly. So then she gave to birth to a child, and after several years, she came with this boy to me to consultation, and this boy could not sit at all calmly. He uh, broke everything in my cabinet, and he did not listen to his mother at all. And I asked her, why do you allow him everything? He is not obedient at all. And she told me, you know, I'm interested in psychology, and I studied a very good book where psychologists say that we need to allow to our children everything that they want. It raises in them willpower, hard work, and raise their self esteem. And of course, I told her that, do you hear what are you talking about? But she told that I studied this book, and this book is the workbook in the kindergarten, so I teach my child this way. So this is madness, friends. And I asked her, but if he will go on the street and he will have the accident, she replied me, it means that it should be, it means that he needs this experience. Then I didn't ask her anything because uh, it's silly things. She considered the book that was written by some silly person and just harm her own child. Although that was a person who had knowledge, she studied with me uh, at some first courses, and she had the result and possibilities of this knowledge and this mechanism. But then, when she went for several years, she had a gap in her study, and this book deluded her completely. When she damaged the life of her child completely. And now I see that this process is spreading everywhere. That it's a great process when parents allow everything to their children. So, uh, and on the contrary, where you pay attention to your child, when you explain what is right, what is wrong, you need to mm, pay more attention and spend more time. And of course, for parents, it's easier not to spend so much time and not pay so much attention to their children. But when their children are small, it's one side, one process. But when they are 15, 16 years old, it's much complicated and difficult. And now also see how many traps are right now video games and virtual reality. When a child is playing in these video games and a person does not know where is real reality, and a person does not want uh, anything, does not know what to do in this life. When then he is 18 years old, we ask, what do you want in this life? He says, I don't know, just buy me a new game. Friends, these are the traps that are imposed to our children, the virtual world, on purpose. This is done on purpose. And then such a child has no right perception of life and this reality. And then it means that this child is not alive, and at the same time he is dead. Because to play in video games is much easier, because when you want to earn something in your life, have some achievements, it's much harder. And now there are a lot of such children. Parents even forgot that they uh, taught the children, allowed the children to be trapped in these video games, because to say that this is their mistakes, of course, it means that they need to fix this and to work very seriously on their children. And what they should do right now to change their life very seriously, very effectively, and to work on themselves and show better example to the children, so that they want to live better, so that they can see the significance and value of this life. But not all people can do this. Only strong-willed people and strong, conscious people, because it's not easy. Now, the quantum transition is undergoing on the planet, and every year children will be born wiser, more developed, and energetically stronger than their parents, much more. And of course, after the completion of the quantum transition, it will be after 10 years, their life on the planet will change a lot, and there will be new society on the Earth, very developed, very conscious. But only those people who live there will survive till the time, who now live on the basis of the right programs. So now think seriously: do you have this material in your life, in your experience, in your behavior, to give such an example and experience to your children? Also, I can tell you that every generation of parents were not counted with their children. But what that process that I am observing, I'm counted with them, because I see that these children are very strong-willed, very talented, very active, hardworking. So they will give a lot of benefits to this world. And of course, for this, we need to give them the right upbringing, raise moral qualities, and then we can give birth to the new race of conscious, developed people. I can say that this state of distortions has a so high level, and that many parents really see that their children are completely uncontrolled, unmanageable, and when their children become adults and they are 25 or 30 years old, and they even don't know what they want from this life. These are mistakes of their parents, and many of such parents realize that they waste their time, that they made mistakes. They say, and they find excuses for themselves, that they had to work a lot to earn money for their families. But now it does not play important role. Now the most important, what relationships their children saw and observe in their families, because they permeated this, and they show and express this in their life. And now they intensify these processes and states in themselves 10 times more, because they have stronger energy potential. I face with such problems almost every day, because almost every day I conduct courses, and when my learners ask me questions, I see these problems in their families. And say that almost 90% of my learners have such a problem in obedience of their children or grandchildren. And when grandmother is come to my courses and they ask, my grandchildren are not obedient, uncontrolled, they are sick, what should I do? And I instantly ask them, uh, what they, how do their parents act? And they say that their parents don't want to learn about any development and spiritual development. On the contrary, they see that I'm in the trapped in the sect, so they don't want to know about this. And then I ask them, why do you ask me why your grandchildren are such? Because they copy the behavior of their parents. So when you ask, what should I do? Become an example for them. Become such a grandmother or grandfather for them, so that your grandchildren looking at you will say that you are so great, so wonderful person, and that your parents should learn from you. This is what you should have in your life. And I can say that every person has happiness, prosperity, luck, happiness, and love. Every person has these programs in the genetics. Every person has these genes in the DNA, this state. And when someone sees in his family such an example of such a person, of having this DNA, he tries to activate these programs and take this example and develop himself, improve himself. And thus, you will be able to help your grandchildren. And in relation to your children, you had to raise them, gave them good example. Of course, people very often justify themselves that I had so many problems with my husband, but friends, the next question to you: who chose the husband for you? Now we have no such a process when someone force you or your parents force you to choose the husband for you. You choose by yourself. So if it is your choice, why did you stay in these relationships? If you saw that he showed a wrong example to your children, you had to realize that your children, when they will become adult, they also will act the same way with their spouses. As one of my learners says, that I have a husband, she is drinking alcohol and fighting with me, he hits me. Why are you living with him? I asked her. Because she gives me the salary. And I asked, so it's very a big salary? No, just a small. So why are you damaging your children, their minds, their souls and psyche? So are you ready to tolerate this fighting, this aggressiveness in your family? So who you are if you live in such relationships? But people really lack this understanding and awareness. And friends, sorry that I'm so frank today, and I'm always frank and truthful with you, because I've realized that if I will not tell you the truth, they no one will tell you this. And I have the main task to save much more people as we can, because I know that the nearest years, 5, 6, will be very, very hard, because people will destroy themselves. Also, will be very serious psychotropic influence. They will become mad and will kill themselves and each other, unknowingly why they are doing this. So only energetically strong, developed, and prepared people will survive and will become conscious. When sometimes someone says that I'm your learner, I have been watching your broadcast several years. Friends, you are my viewers, but you're not my learners. My learners, these are people with whom I'm working on the courses. I'm giving to them energy mechanisms. I tune them to the high vibrations. These are my learners. But if you are watching only my video and broadcast, you're just my viewers, and it's not enough for your development and salvation. And friends, I told about this many years ago, 10 years and earlier, what will happen in the future, because I saw all these events that will happen. And I understood that very strong hardships will come. And now I see that many people will not be able to become my learners, and they will stay only my viewers. And why? Because they have suppressed willpower. That's why many people are ready only to live and to move on this planet, but they are not humans anymore. Their thoughts are not their thoughts, their desires are not their desires, their feelings are not their feelings, their choice are not their choices. They're just moving, working somewhere, buying, working, talking to each other, but they are not humans because they have lost their true human nature, the core of their nature, the part of the eternal life that were in their souls. The system completely controls their minds, and the system tells them that you need to go there, you need to kill there someone, or to steal something. Many people don't realize this, don't analyze their thoughts. And many people come to this state, of course, unfortunately. So such people will leave this world in masses very soon. That's why my task is to help such people who have not lost themselves completely, who I can save. And even if they will not develop this spiritual divine core, but at least not to lose it, because many people really lost their souls. Yes, I often tell you about my inner sadness, but friends, I live with such thoughts because this is the meaning of my life. And when I see that when a person has this divine potential but does not use it, it means that the system defeat, uh, defeated him. And now, this week, I conduct on the first level, and I see every time that every course is not repeated in the same way. Every time, the higher and more effective knowledge is given to people. Because we waste a lot of time, I mean, people, humanity. If most people started the spiritual development 10 years, at least 10 years ago, now they would be at very high level, and there wouldn't be such so many distractions, because you need time to raise your vibrations, to adapt to new energies. You need to adapt to them, to train, to activate this, to nurture these inner states inside. And it takes time, because it work on yourself. It takes months and years. That's why when you tell that you are my learners because you are watching my broadcast, no, friends, you are just my viewers, and you, maybe you will stay my viewers while we are conducting this broadcast. But ask yourself, what will you do when we will not be able to provide this broadcast, and you will not watch me, will not see me? What will happen to you? Because many strong process will take place. Friends, now there is the time so responsible for every person that it wasn't before. And your future depends on your worldview, your understanding, and uh, understanding of this life. And maybe you will not have time, because there is no time left for your doubts, for your thoughts and analysis about this, because you see these changes right now in our lives. And there is such an understanding. the point of no return, because there is such a process into you stepped, and then it will be forever. The life is the process of changes. And I am ready to your questions. I am confident that we have a lot of questions. I know that many of them will be more personal questions. I understand this because more often you come here to solve your earthly tasks, and only then you realize more about your development. So I give the floor to Sergei Arkadyevich. He will voice the questions. Good evening, friends. We really have a lot of questions. So the first question will be that is very common among our viewers. People want to hear specific recommendations, what to do for parents when they're one step lower than their children intellectually in their mental development, because children now are very smart and very strong-willed, confident. So how these parents should raise their children? Many of these viewers ask that maybe they need to punish sometimes their children, because in the past there were such an understanding that punishment help to teach children not to act wrong and to quit some bad habits, bad behavior, and how to resolve conflicts that cause because of these different levels of intellectual development between parents and children in the family. Let's start from the most primitive. Uh, you gave birth to your child, and first you need to teach him when he eats on schedule, on a specific time. So bring order in your life. When you, the mom also have the time to have a rest, to eat, because you need to eat the right food. And then when you uh, feed your baby with the breast milk, then it will be healthy and have the high immunity. Because if you will feed your baby with the mixes from the shops, they become mu- mutation. They have mutative process because they have the hormonal uh, distortion. Because of this modern nutrition, child nutrition, that have the hormones, artificial hormones in the ingredients, and ask yourself why someone produces such nutrition for children to make them mutants. So I will return that you create your schedule, your order when you are working with your baby, when you feed him. The father and grandparents should help the mother. So in such a family, there is mutual understanding and love. Such a child, when he starts living in this world in such a family, his brain starts activating the programs of the mind of his mother, father, and his environment, starting from the first days, even when he is embryo before the birth. So during these first years, he will he will you will create in him, you will nurture in him the right temper. So of course he will be stronger energetically, but you don't need to carry a child every moment when he starts crying, because this is his demands, because He cannot explain anything, he does not understand where he is. So when you show that you have the order, the schedule in all care with your baby, then you put the right programs into his mind. And his brain activates the right programs. And when this baby is 3 months, 4 years, 4 months, 6 months, then this baby understands this world more and starts looking on the relationship between his parents more attentively. Then he starts copy the relationships and behavior. When the baby is 1 years old, then he has the formed programs, and if it was right, then he will develop in right way. But if you give smartphones, video games, then you add infections into his mind. The baby will see the 25th frame or cartoons of Disney Studio. There are a lot of infectious programs. Then these programs will be put into the subconsciousness of a child, and then his behavior will be built on these infectious destructive programs. And then you notice that a child becomes more aggressive or not so obedient. And for example, when a girl will see that um, the characters in the cartoons are have a makeup, and then the baby, this girl want to have the makeup, 3 years old. Do you know why these processes are created? Because these programs of uh, the programs when of freedom, sexual freedom, that everything is allowed, are installed into the mind of girl, and it's not normal programs, a destructive program, because the right programs, when a person want to study, to reveal his abilities, to develop his talents, then you need to tell the stories, fairy tale before sleeping about animals, and say that all cats and puppies, they obey their parents, they are preparing for sleeping, and they bring order into the rooms, and they took all their toys in the right places. So we also should put all your toys in the right places, and only then we should prepare for sleeping. And then in the morning when we will come, we'll take these toys and we'll play again. So play with your children, play in the theaters with the dolls on your hands. So nurture in them the right behavior, the right attitude to the toys, to himself, and then it will be the right attitude and respect to parents, because you train and raise, develop your children through plays, through games, and not give the gadgets and smartphones. And I cannot forget such a case, a situation when I went to the shopping mall someday, and I saw a small girl, 5 years old, and she played with some video game with very disgusting sounds. And the mom was next to her. She showed this game to her, and she even did not react it to this game that her child, her daughter, is playing. I was shocked. I even did not know that there are such uh, games that can show and with such a sound of warm meeting and other disgusting sounds. Of course, when such a child will become adult, will or will be 13, 15 years old, of course, such a child will be mad and will not listen to her mother at all. I give you the example of the real life. Our today's broadcast, I, I give you all examples from the real life. So this is the madness of our world. Although they were not poor, that woman had good clothes and was well groomed. So we see that she is not poor, but to teach her child in this way, of course, it's madness. And I'm sure that now this mom is complaining that her daughter, is not obedient. But it's her mistake that he gave these games to her daughter so that she will not interfere her, did not disturb her. So friends, I can give you a very serious recommendation. Show your children that these phones are just the method of communication, but don't hold the smartphones near your head, because in addition to the state that this method of connection, this is also the weapon that influences your brain. And when you people say something wrong, then this smartphone can burst near the head. It's also true. That's why, friends, you need to develop yourself, write books, and nurture in your children spirituality. And you can tell and explain your children that, for example, birthday. Today is the celebration, and how do you think? Who gave you the life? Of course, he will say that I don't know, and tell him that sit and I will explain you. Then it's very important to be serious, to talk to them seriously, and start explaining that there is the force of light that created everything. Remember when we walk in the at night or in the late evening, we uh, observed the stars. So there is such a force that is called the Creator, God, and He created all these stars, the cosmos, the planets, the moon, and the moon also was created specially. And in the future, also will tell you how it was. And now you can observe and this beauty of the sky. And tomorrow we will go to the forest and I will tell you more about these beauties of our nature. And then when a child asks their parents that how these trees or these plants are created, how they are working, how they are living, uh, when they ask you so many inquisitive questions, when they are curious, you need to tell them and explain them so in a very interesting way. When you light the interest in them, interest to cognition, to knowledge. But for this, parents need to have this interest and not to think how to destroy themselves or drink alcohol with your friends and don't pay attention to your children. And friends, of course, I think that all people should know all this that I am telling you. If you're adult people and well educated and consider yourself as a normal conscious state, of course, you should know this, how to uh, act with your children. But many people really don't understand even this. So, friends, after today's lectures, start acting and develop your children. Of course, everything depends on the ages. If they are small, 2 years old, 3, 4 years old, you play with them, show them examples through the games when you are playing, and tell them fairy tales. Go with them on the nature. You can feed animals to give them nuts, fruits, apples. Then when you went somewhere, you tell that, oh, there are no apples. It maybe the um, animals came and rabbits, and we will wait it in the evening she can come and knock to your window and will thank you because the mother rabbit took this apple and then brought these apples to her babies. This is the example of care and generosity and kindness. It's very easy to give the examples to children through animals. They love animals a lot. So don't deny them when they come to you. Don't hide from them. Be with them very often. You're a breeding ground for them. So, of course, they permeate everything from you as a sponge. So, play with your children, love them. So, they took and applied these examples, this development. Much faster than you because they have more uh, stronger energy. And I do the same with my grandson. I told him about the birds, about um, other animals, and we took nuts uh, and fruits or vegetables. And so it means that I teach him to be generous and not like other parents. Many parents say that give them uh, apples or some food candies and say that don't share with anyone, eat by yourself. And then if you wait that they will give you some care and help in when you will be old in old age, don't wait because you did not nurture this generosity and care in them. So, friends, I want to emphasize again that these aggressive, selfish people, alcoholic people who you take drugs, they will not survive. They will not survive this quantum transition. So, just a few people stay. Remember, as Vanga said, that only people of light will survive and will stay in the new age. And what it means. This is what we are talking about today. High moral qualities and values, take care of each other, respect between each other, a high intellectual and mind development, acceptance and understanding of everything, kindness, awareness when you understand that if people allow to be deluded, to be tormented and deceived, it means that they are not ready to something better. So you need to realize this, but to be very vigilant and not to be suppressed and deluded by these matrix programs. And to be calm during this period of time, to be active, to be hardworking, and your activity that give benefits to the world, to bring order in all areas of your life, to learn, to study, activate and develop all your talents, work with meditations, mechanisms, activate your light, develop your lights, raise your vibrations, open extrasensory abilities, live in God, in high vibrations, become similar as God, reveal God in yourself. Always ask yourself how God would act in your place, in your situation, and try to act how he teaches us, how he shows us example and want to see us. So everything is simple. Your children see this and they copy your behavior, and they will show and express that behavior for sure in their lives. What you will put into your children, you will receive in return. Remember this, friends. Friends, sorry, I forgot that I need to allow Sergei Arkadьевич to voice your questions. Sergei Arkadьевич said thank you that you allowed me to ask questions. So the question, what do you think about online education, how it will affect children in the future? Friends, you know that I always tell you the truth. And if I cannot tell the truth, I just will be silent. Here, I can tell you some uh, explanations that now we have education that does not teach our children. So, this online education is like a final stage of education of our old world, because there is no development, there is no discipline, serious attention to the process of education. Children can sleep during these lessons, so it's not the right studying. Of course, teachers and uh, other people who are responsible for this education, they need to give some education. So when it was a pandemic, they had to give some online education, but it did not give any results. And you see it by yourself, what result do you have. But I can tell you that after the completion of the quantum transition, and even before this completion, the system of education will completely change, completely. So at schools and other educational institutes, first they will tell you the truth, the truthful information. And uh, educational programs and workbooks will be really sources of knowledge, because now these books uh, are widespread uh, when someone paid for them and promoted them. But it will be real sources of knowledge that will teach children, will give them the truth, reveal them the truth, and will train and open in them, develop in them energy development. Because as I told you today, that new children are very strong energetically, and we need to teach them how to manage their energy in the right way. So now this education that they have now, it's not the right process. On the one hand, they have to have some education, but this process has to finish. But and I can tell you, when our planet will overcome, get over these hardships, and it will be a very serious planetary disaster. Then, when developed conscious people will survive, the system of education will completely change, and I don't think that it will be online. On the contrary, people will develop children very effectively and skillfully. They will teach them, work with them together, show them this example. So these children who will become adults till that time, they will be very developed, well educated. They will have a lot of technical knowledge, because there will be a lot of advanced technologies that will replace hard physical work of people. So I cannot tell you that online education is bad, only bad or only good. It's both, friends. So of course, books that can give the right, truthful information from the pure sources, they will be in the future. Now we don't have such books, and all teachers know about this. In our center, I can say that most of our learners are teachers or lecturers, teachers from institutes, universities. Although simple people of other professions are studying with us, and all learners have the same attitude to themselves. We have all are at the same position, all are respectful to each other, are friendly to each other, take care of each other, support each other. We create such a bright community on our planet. And I think that not only me is engaged in this process on the planet, and of course, it is joyful. The next question. Olga asks, the father of my granddaughter died, and my granddaughter is crying very often. And how should I explain to my granddaughter that her father died? He will not come again. Friends, you touched a painful um, spot in my soul, but I know that it's painful for you too. So first, you need to explain to your granddaughter that your father went to another world. And if you want to talk with your father, do you want this? He cannot come to you in this physical life, but he can come to you in a dream. And do you know what you should do for this? Come, and I will show you. We have the icon, and you see this is the picture of the pure divine spirit. So you appeal to him and ask him, uh, let your father comes to you in your dream. And then you will tell him everything that you want and you will hug him. So come and talk to God with your own words. Give me today, tonight in my dream, the meeting with my father. And also, do you know what I want to tell you? That your father did not die, in fact. But then, where is he? Why he does not come to me? He went to another world where we cannot go. But we can enter this world to see this world when we are asleep, when we sleep. So your father lives in this world where you go when you sleep. So ask God, tell him that I'm waiting at the meeting with my father. Before sleeping, remember that now I will close my eyes and I will meet my father in my dream. Friends, teach your children. Very soon after the quantum transition, the boundaries between these two worlds, dense material and the subtle space, will be erased. So teach your children right now, and at the same time, she will not miss, she will not worry. She will know that he is alive, that he did not die. And it is true, he continues living. Just he has changed his form of life and he turned into another state of life. But he remembered his daughter, his wife, his family, his life. He did not lose his memory. So explain her this process. And then, when she will meet her father in a dream, she will not be afraid of death and she will not miss so much. At the same time, she will reveal her extrasensory abilities and she will be able to continue the evolution because she will pass the quantum transition. So, even in such a situation, we need to find something good. And those people who created all these processes, they will be responsible for everyone who was killed, who was uh, harmed in the cosmos. Everyone pays off for all their deeds and actions. And if you created so much suffering, killing, they will be responsible for this so awfully, so strong suffering. And uh, such people, their souls, they will be tormented so much because after death they know the reasons and these entities that will meet them there, they know the reasons why they will trapped into the very destructive space. So these are not people who created these wars and killing. So friends, they will pay off for all of this. Friends, you will see it. The time will come when you will see it. And I want to wish you acceptance, understanding, patience, and stop to grieve, to cry, because it does not help your loved one, your son. It will harm him even more. So ask the spiritual uh, beings to help him in that subtle dimensions where his soul will come. Because everything is difficult, it's not so easy. I cannot tell you everything about this process. So I told you the information that I could, and ask the Creator to give you the right words for explanation to your children. And I'm really sorry for your grief. Sergei Arkadьевич said that we will finish the broadcast. And a small question. Tell us, please, how children have to pass the quantum. And one more question. Why do you teach people online? He did not get any result from this learning. We give knowledge, but we cannot expand the understanding, the brain of the person. Friends, thank you for the question. I can tell you, friends, that I really could not help every person. To thus, you really need to have more developed mind. So not everyone, not every person can realize the knowledge that I'm giving to my learners. Although I try to explain this higher knowledge in simple words and phrases, because that knowledge that I'm giving to my learners are so high, so great, that it's very easy to confuse. And sometimes I even ask my learners, do you want I will confuse you? But of course, I try to not to confuse, but to explain everything so that they figure out with everything. So our studying is at the very simple level because I explain with simple words. Because for often, more often, simple ordinary people come to us to study, and we don't need to confuse them with scientific terms and phrases. But it gives a very serious results in their life. So when you say that this knowledge did not help me, it's an incorrect phrase because you should use this knowledge and apply them by yourself. For example, when you take book, the book does not tell you that now I will help you. Just read me and I will help you. No, you take book and you understand this knowledge. Take that is significant, important for you. Then you apply this information into your life, and only after that you see the result in your life. In relation to our courses online, not only online, we also have conferences, courses, face to face. And friends, uh, we have learners from 47 countries. And friends, now in Ukraine, there is a war, and I live in Ukraine, in such a city where all European commissions were, because it's near Kiev, where all this war, when this war started, it's completely destroyed a city. The whole world knows this city, this region. So, friends, I want to tell you that this higher knowledge is not for all people, but for chosen ones, because not all people are ready for them, for this knowledge and energies. There are many lazy people. They want to get very quick results. They think that they get this knowledge and they will change very quickly. But this knowledge and mechanisms change their life only quickly, only in the lives of such people who are very hard working. And you receive results even on the courses at the first day, and you could not notice this effect when you learned on the course. And if you will be truthful, you will say that it's. But of course, such a processes as COVID-19, then war, does not allow us to conduct the work how we conducted this before, face to face. But then, more than 10 years, I have been conducting this work face to face in the halls, in many cities. Now we have learners who remember this time. They love to remember this. When we have some conference in some country, when we can meet face to face, they are flying there just to be with me, to meet me and study and see face to face. And we exchange our love. It means that I managed to help these people. If I could not help you, it happens. And even Jesus Christ told that knowledge are for chosen ones. And who are these chosen ones? Those who chose the path of evolution, path of development. But a person who is lazy, envious, uh, greedy, he is not a chosen one. He did not choose the path of his life. He just lives his life blaming everyone, envy the people. But his life does not change for the better. But if such a person realizes his vices, destructive states, and come to study with us, he also changes his life. And it's not in vain when people come to us. It means that if you once came to us, it means that you had the chance. God gave you this chance and smiled to you. And of course, it's pity that you didn't realize this, but it was your choice. And God respects your choice. And He will not forbid you not to choose your path. Just you will have your own results of your choice. And the answer to the question of how children should pass the quantum transition and get over this. Remember, I told you that the quantum transition and the final way wave of quantum transition will be very bright flash of light that will permeate the whole planet. So, for you and for children and your grandchildren to get over this strong wave, high vibrational energy, you need to raise your vibrations to develop, activate very strong energy field, and then this strong high vibrational energy wave of light will enter you, will transform you, and will not kill you, will not burn you. And for this, you need to study, you need to work in sublimation mechanism to activate and build up this energy field around yourself that can protect you from the influences, negative impact of other people, diseases, and other wave influences from different devices everywhere. You need to teach your children, grandchildren, also to work in these mechanisms. For them, it's much easier because they initially much stronger energetically than you, their parents and grandparents. That's why we also are teaching the children of upper learners. They are prodigy children. Almost in every group, children are studying with adults because they are more adapted and very often they are at the higher level than these adult learners. It means that they are children, people of the future. They will get over of this quantum transition because they are adapted and will be adapted to this high vibrational energy. So friends, you need to study, you need to learn, not to sit, not to wait for something. If you will not take care of yourself, no one will not do this. The system only can create the processes when you will perish with everyone, but I really want to help to save much more people, people who will survive, will get over of this quantum transition, who will kind, who are kind, conscious, open, frank, friendly, merciful people who will create a new wonderful world, and we will live in this world, we with you and my learners. So, friends, have a great evening and up to new meetings. Goodbye.